Hall of Famer in the Major Leagues. Kirby's name has become legendary in Bicentennial throughout baseball. Puckett was a member of the 1983 Bicentennial Oaks and went on to bat over 300 in his Major League career, winning 2 world titles with the Twins and hitting a memorable game-winning home run in the 1991 World Series. Tonight we retire Kirby Puckett's number 28, which he wore here in Bicentennial in 1983. Now becomes just a second in franchise history to be retired, along with Jackie Robinson's number 42. Here to say a few words about Kirby's time here in Bicentennial are Stan Simpson, who owned the ball club during Puckett's stay, and Jeff Bergman, who was the team's general manager.
Thank you very much, and ladies and gentlemen, welcome to tonight. But the first thing I'd like to say, because I've been associated with this baseball franchise since I was a child in 1946, and my grandfather got me involved in all those years, never in the history of this franchise have we had a better owner than Tom Seidler and his family. Let's give him a round of applause. Speaking of Kirby Puckett, Kirby's the only Visalia pro player from the Cubs to the current Diamondbacks who is in Major League Baseball's Hall of Fame in Cooperstown. I knew him very well personally. I said my wife, Wendy, sitting up there, we were somewhat like godparents to him. And he was just a tremendous, tremendous competitor, and maybe even better, a tremendous individual. The only other player that I can recall, and I've seen almost all of them except for maybe 3 years when I was gone to college, the only other player I can recall that was his equal, and I think someday will be in the Hall of Fame, and that was David Pinson in 1957. And David was from Oakland, and a strange story about that is he played American Legion ball only about 3 years before against a lot of the Visalia fields. But Kirby brought a lot of thrills to not only the Visalia Twins at that time, but to the entire California League. It's my pleasure to introduce to you Jeff Ruderman, our general manager. That was his first year. He's a former Twin player for many years, and he had more than just a personal relationship with Kirby. Yeah?
Thank you, Stan. Kirby was very special to everybody that was associated with the Visalia Oaks back in 1983. And the first day that I got to see him in spring training, I knew he was going to be a special player for us. His energy, his demeanor. But Kirby had some special qualities that I think that everybody would love to have in their own children, and that is he was very cordial, he was very polite. I don't think he ever called my wife by anything other than Mrs. Bergman. And she kept saying, please call me Shirley. Okay, Mrs. Bergman. And that was Kirby. Kirby was also a very clutch player. He came to play every day. And when we went to the playoffs in 1983, for some reason, everybody on the team went into a slump except for Kirby. And Kirby tried to carry that team as far as he could. And he did some things that were just unbelievable. I think he had 10 stolen bases in that series, in the playoff series. He could throw. He had a lot of assists. I don't know the number of assists, but I think he led the Cal League in assists that year from left field. Then he went on to play center field for the Twins. One story about when he was with the Twins in one of the playoffs, they were in a situation in the sixth game, going into the sixth game of the World Series. And Kirby walked into the locker room, and they were down 3-2. The guys were nervous. They were anxious to play, but they were nervous about the result. And Kirby lightened it up, and he came in, and he just said, guys, hop on the back. I'm carrying you tonight. And that night, one of the best performances, clutch performances by anybody in World Series history. I think he stole the base, he threw a run around, caught the famous ball against the left center field wall, hit a home run to win the game. He did everything a player can be asked to do in a game. And that was Kirby. But Kirby always remembered us too. When I would go see him in Chicago, He would make sure he'd take the time to say hello, talk to me, and to Mrs. Bergman, and to my daughter. Just Kirby was a wonderful person, and we were very lucky to have him in Visalia. I hope and pray that someday we'll continue with these guys that come in from Arizona, that we'll have some people with the quality of Kirby. And I think anybody who's been here that was able to see Kirby play will remember the energy and the way he could play. And it was quite a joy for all of us. And I tell you, this is a special day for us. And thank you, Tom, for joining.
Thanks, Jeff and Sam, for the first-hand stories. For those of us who weren't here when Kirby played, we will do our best to keep the legend of Kirby Puckett alive. 2 retired jerseys here, number 42, Jackie Robinson, whose number is retired for all of professional baseball. And now number 28 for Kirby Puckett, the greatest player in the 66 years of Visalia professional baseball. How about a big hand for Jeff and Sam and Kirby Puckett? And a big hand for the first place Visalia Rawhide, taking the field soon as the Visalia Oaks.